Saza. And today I have two very special guests with me, Chai and Prakash. And we're going to go over wraps. So, Chai and Prakash are doing a ton of wraps all over Texas. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and send them the invite link for this stream. Boom, just sent it. So they should be joining us shortly while we wait for everyone to jump in. So, guys, if you're watching on Facebook, I cannot respond or see your comments. I cannot respond to or see your comments if you are on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, I can actually see your comments in the chat. So, we've got like a handful of people here right now. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, please write something in the chat so I know it's working. Facebook, I'm sorry if you're watching on Facebook, I cannot see your comments. It's a limitation of the streaming platform that I use to make these videos. So if you're on Facebook, I'm so sorry I can't see your comments. I won't be able to interact with you. I won't be able to answer your questions. I won't be able to highlight you if you're on Facebook Live. You're just going to be a spectator. But on YouTube or Twitch, I will be able to see your comments. There we go. Brandon Council on YouTube says, hey, thank you for putting this on. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Brandon. Really appreciate you. And look what we got here. We've got Chai. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
So good, dude. Super good, dude. How's your weekend?
Oh, good. Yeah, we had this Indian festival this weekend, Diwali, still going on. It's a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
How about you guys?
Mine was excellent. What I'm really excited for. There he is. What is up, Prakash? The man
Hey,
who
Munif.
legend.
How are you? Are we live?
We're live. We're live. And look what Brandon Council says. Thank you so much for doing this, Chai. Thank you, Brandon. Guys, pour some love on Chai and Prakash. If you're watching this, if you're tuning in, go ahead and make a post tagging Chai and Prakash and thanking them for underwriting wraps for us. Today, we're going to underwrite wraps, and we just might release and show and talk about the step-by-step guide to finding buyers and completing a wrap. And there's more to a wrap than just finding buyers. There's an entire spreadsheet that Chai and Prakash have developed. But the promise was there has to be enough demand for us to release the spreadsheet. So if there's not enough viewers, there's not enough comments, we might have to wait till next time. Thank you so much, Chai and Prakash. I'm really excited because I'm going to be seeing you guys this week. You guys are going to be here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep.
Yes. We'll be there Thursday afternoon.
You're going to be here Thursday afternoon in the desert. This is amazing. That's awesome. It's actually really nice here. It's like 60.
I think the weather is really good, huh?
It's amazing here. I was walking around shorts outside, and dare I say, I felt a little chilly. 65 degrees and sunny. It's nice.
Low in the 50s. Let's do it.
Brandon Council says, I'm selling my house on a wrap, so this series has been great. Thank you. Yeah, and no problem, Brandon. We do this for people like you. Nicole Tedder says, hi, everyone. Nicole, you're awesome. I love seeing you here. You brighten up our days. Thank you so much, Nicole. Super Saiyan Apollo says, shorts and 65 degrees. Is that cold? I don't know. I'm from That's like shorts weather. For us, like I wear long pants, 40, 50 degrees. I might wear some long pants. Nicole, are you going to be in Phoenix? Oh, we're going to meet Nicole at the State of the Union. So, guys, if you're coming to the State of the Union, you get to meet Chai, Prakash, and myself. We're all going to be at the State of the Union this Friday I think it's at the Keighley office. I'm not exactly sure where it exactly is being held.
Yeah, it is at the Keighley office, I think.
Keighley office. Super Saiyan Apollo says, yes, it is. Shorts, 65 degrees is too cold for shorts. Dang. All right. He must be from California. I'll be at the Keighley event too. Awesome. Okay,
Oh,
great. So guys, Chai Prakash, what are we going to be accomplishing today?
So I've been talking to David for last few days. He has a lead that he actually I think he got it under contract today. So we can discuss that lead and underwrite and help him with the next steps. So I have
Okay.
given him this link. So he's gonna come online and share some details with us.
Yeah. I see him in the backstage. So we're going to be underwriting somebody's actual deal that they just got under contract to see how they might be able to sell it on a wrap. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. And here we go. Our very special guest,
I'm gonna put down.
David. What's up, man? You're upside down. How are you?
That's the
I
story
can't.
of
I can't hear you.
wraps. If you did it with banks today, upside down.
Exactly. He's in Australia right now
Oh wow.
because everything in Australia is upside down. We can't hear you.
Mm.
What I recommend is when you leave and rejoin and go to your settings, there's a gear icon. It might even be in the bottom right of your screen. There's a gear icon, and you can change your video settings and you can change your audio settings. I don't know how to help you by being upside down. I've never experienced that. I've never been upside down before. While David gets his screen together, so do you guys know where this wrap is? Where this deal is?
It's in Odessa, Texas.
Okay, so it's in Texas. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. So I have a deal. I've got a seller I'm talking to. This is an interesting one. I've got a seller I'm talking to um, in Florence, Arizona. In Florence, Arizona. So it's actually quite, it's 60 miles southeast of Phoenix. It's a little out there. It's a nice little community. It's in the downtown area of the city. Now I've been calling some brokers and talking to them about wraps and selling on seller finance. And so far, I've only talked to three. I want to talk to 30 or 40 brokers, but I think there might only be three in that area. It's a small town, 30,000 population size. A third of the population is Latino American demographic. So a lot of our wrap buyers are immigrants. So it seems like a third of the population of Florence is maybe immigrant, first generation, second generation Latino immigrant. Um, is that a good market for me to sell a wrap on? Even though the market size, 30,000 population is pretty low. Should I even waste my time or bother with this deal, or what do you guys think?
So it's not an easy answer, right? So what me and Chai do, we stick to bigger metros, but I think I would talk to the brokers and see how the market is. Like I'm doing some research on Killeen, Texas right now,
Mhm.
and talking to a lot of brokers. So it's a challenging market there for owner finance because 75% are military veterans,
I mean, in
and I
spite
talked
of being so close to Austin.
so close to Austin, and the rest of the 25% loans are either FHA or conventional. So some data that I got from the brokers there is they maybe see a one buyer or two buyers a year that are looking for owner finance wrap. That's not really a good news. So in that case, what I would look for is, if it's a 2-3% deal, we still want to do it because it's a good interest rate. But there should be some other exit, like a rental exit.
That makes sense because
Yeah.
that interest rate it's so good.
So Florence being 60 miles away from Phoenix doesn't sound like it's too far. I mean,
Yeah, it's
60
Sounds
not.
miles
far.
in Houston is still 60. It's still Houston,
Houston.
60 miles away from Houston. So
Right.
I don't know. I would check if that, I mean, area people live there to actually come and work in and around Phoenix. If that is something, if you can qualify it like that, then yeah, it's a possibility.
It's an hour drive. I don't know if people commute. I'm pretty new to Phoenix. Might be able to ask Pace. Maybe Pace might give me some insight. But it's a 4.5% interest rate loan. It's a total sub two, great condition house. So I'm considering doing that on a wrap. I've talked to the sellers tomorrow. My entry fee, like after paying, realtors and assignment and everything like that, would be 110,000. So it's pretty low entry fee.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I could even sell it at like a 5% down, 7% down, something like that. And I could still be okay. Obviously, depending on conditions, so I'd have an inspection and all that stuff done. But so this is really exciting because I just want to get my hands dirty. I just want to, part of me wants to do this deal just to do it. I took your advice, guys. I contacted brokers in Ohio for my apartment deal. And the third guy I called, he's like, "Oh, you want to sell it on a land contract?" I've sold hundreds. I'm a broker. I've brokered hundreds of land contracts. So he was like, he knew exactly what I was doing. That I had an underlying no. He knew exactly what I was talking about. He's like, "Oh, this is easy. Parma, it's a great area." So it's like, wow, that's everything I wanted to hear. I didn't ask him about his strategies, but the way he was speaking, the confidence he had,
Oh,
the
yeah.
way he understood exactly what I was doing, underlying sub two. He's like, "Oh, they never call the due on sale. That's not a problem." A broker's telling me. It's usually investors telling me this, but it's a broker. So that was really cool. So the stuff you guys are teaching works. Guys, if you're watching this, the stuff Chai and Prakash teach work. And look, I think we've got David. I think his camera is back online. Let's bring him back here. Cool. What's up, David?
Hey, how you guys doing? Hi, Munif. Hey,
Doing
Chai.
good.
Hey, David, how are
Hey,
you?
David.
Thanks
Nice
so
to see him.
much for having me.
Thanks for coming, man. So you're a viewer, you're watching the series, then you're like, "Hey, I've got a wrap. Let me contact Chopper Manif. Let's get on the takeaway and let's underwrite this wrap." Is that right?
Yes, exactly. And thank Kosh has been letting me hit him up the whole last week and a half with all these questions. So I really
That's awesome. So David, tell us a little bit about this deal. How'd you find the deal? Tell us the story.
So so I work with a team within sub two, about 5 wing, Willie Yards' team in Shy Slay, and through our one came in Odessa, Texas. We've been trying to tighten our areas to focus. We talked about that one of the last takeaway episodes to kind of focus down, and it wasn't working. Definitely wasn't working on cash because it's new, built in 2016, so it's in good condition. And yeah, we came across it and we group, and I think everybody's excited to tackle one. I think it's newer for pretty much everybody. So I've been doing my best to, as I had a feeling things were going to get locked up, I started, take in your lessons and content to take away and just try to, deal comes in, I can jump on as much as I can and see what we could do to make it happen.
That's so awesome, David. And what about wraps really attracted you to the idea?
I guess the idea was the best of both, which that you can make money up front, but then also cash flow while not for it, which almost sounds like a dream.
Right.
So that's pretty amazing. And possible, or I should say how creative it can be with creating
Are
what
you guys
that
able to hear David? It's breaking up for me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
breaking up a little bit. Is your Wi-Fi on 5G?
it should be, yeah. Let me make sure here. Maybe if I put these headphones on, it'll be better.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Better at all?
Maybe. Let's find out.
Okay.
So, do you like the cash flow? You like the entry fee up front? And you like the low liability, low headaches? Is that right?
Yes. And I just honestly liked it also as an, I'm newer to
it's his internet.
business. It's not.
Yeah, we're losing every third word. Might be your internet connection, your Wi-Fi. Are you on your phone?
Yes, I'm on my phone.
Maybe
Yeah.
can you get closer to the
Phone
router or something? And
Yeah.
the headphones
No,
made
but
it
on the
really.
phone it was very difficult last time too.
I have an idea. Turn off your video. Maybe if you turn off your video, it won't have to. You know what I mean? Your voice will come in. It won't break.
Yeah,
Let's try that.
let's give that a try.
Excellent.
Hopefully this will be better.
No, it's not working. It's hard to hear.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
maybe we'll try. We'll try our best. Let's try our best. What? So David, tell us about this deal.
Odessa, Texas.
Okay.
ARV around 320.
Okay.
Condition, it's 2016, so it's not anything at all. The 5K in their pocket, because we want sub 2 to take over the creative 2 wrap strategy. And the principal interest is 323,000. The interest rate is 4.
We lost him. Does anybody
So,
have Chai Prakash? Do you guys have the deal?
yes, so I pulled up information that David has sent me. I can go over the details.
Okay, great. Excellent.
So it's in Odessa, Texas. He has it under contract. Loan balance is $323,000.
Okay.
Interest rate is 4.2%.
Okay.
Escrow balance is $7,000. I'm just rounding up the numbers.
Okay.
Escrow balance is 7,000, and then a monthly payment of 2,526.
Okay. 2,526. Dude, that's a huge
PITI.
monthly pay. That's a huge bill. That's a 2,000. Because I remember on our first Wrap Zoom, you said you like the bill being, the Wrap buyers can usually afford to pay anywhere between 2,000 to 2,500 usually. So we need to make more money on the Wrap. Holy cow! With Edgar Alexandra is here. Hello, guys. Happy to be here. So nice to have you, man. So nice to see you, Edgar. Edgar is a good friend of mine. So, what was that? No, what were you saying?
So yeah, this is what you're exactly right on this one because this is a higher price point. The loan amount is $325,000.
Got it. Okay, because the
So
loan amount
I
is
actually
so
agree.
high.
If this case is above 350, closer to 400, I mean, without looking at ARV or anything. So in a small market with high ARV, that I would say is a bit of a challenge. Again,
Because your buyer pool is
yeah.
smaller. Like, for example, it's the same. My deal, by the way, in Florence, Arizona, looks very close to this. 4.5% interest rate, 2,300 PITI ish, something like that. Small market, right? Florence, Arizona has 30,000 people living in it. Now it's like, average market rent is like you can get like 1,900 a month rent. So you're going to negative cash flow as a rental. I'm sure this one negative cash flows as a rental too at a 4.2% interest rate.
Yeah, yes.
And, and
But the good thing about this deal is the seller wants $5,000 out of pocket, and then $7,000 is in fact there is no, the loan is not behind, so the seller only wants $5,000. I saw the
cool.
pictures of the house. It's nice, ready to move in. You can also check the latest pictures on Zillow. So his out of pocket is going to be $5,000 plus, $3,000 on closing cost. So
Okay.
it's very attractive in terms of entry fee.
Okay.
And then the loan is also smaller. I mean, the loan interest rate is very attractive compared to what's out
Current
there.
market, right? 6, 7, 8%. It's a 4.5 or 4.2 actually. So it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
today exactly. We locked one today. It's I spoke to a broker. It's over 7% now, primary,
Wow.
for
Yeah.
a good interest rates.
Wow. That's unreal.
So my advice to what David wanted to know, what are the next steps.
Okay.
So I've started, we talked yesterday. So my advice to him would be basically, start talking to the local brokers and see what kind of owner financing market is there. I'll give you an example. Last week, me and Chai signed a property in San Marcos,
Okay.
and then it's a mobile home on a close to an acre lot. And then I checked on MLS. And I think only I think 20% of the properties in that neighborhood were sold owner finance. And the first broker I called, he said, "No problem, we can sell it in a month."
Yeah.
And it's going to be an excellent cash flow. We bought it from one of the sub two members as well.
That's awesome. So, what interest rate are you getting? You're buying the house sub two, right?
Yeah, we are buying that on 2.75%.
And where is the location?
It's in San Marcos.
That's amazing. St.
It's
Marcos.
outside.
Marcos in the near the hill country area, in I mean very
It's
popular.
outside of Austin.
Okay, outside Austin. Okay.
So
So
on the Odessa deal, I wanna say like couple like hacks what
Okay.
people can do on the something, and including your Florence deal.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anything anywhere you have sellers like you on your like side, and they want to work something out or help you out, like this seller is not behind on payments on Odessa, or I don't know, I mean in
No, I don't
Florence
put sellers
case I
behind.
don't know what the deal is, but there is one or two things you can try to make it happen if you really want to make it happen. Um, is either while you are under contract, be upfront with the seller. Hey, this is a difficult one. I'm going to try a couple things. And then while you're under contract, maybe for 15 days or 30 days, you can try and market it actively if you can work something out. So without actually having to buy it or complete the process. If there is an issue with the payment, maybe you can lower your risk by just making payments without transferring the title. So that way seller will not complain, and that will minimize your risk tremendously, and you won't have to take on this monthly payment forever. Instead you are paying couple months of payments, only paying 5 grand out of pocket, and
That
you
makes
get to
sense.
actually try it.
I can really try for 2 months, and what
Yeah,
do I have to lose? $5 grand,
yeah.
opposed to 10 or 12 or 15, and I'm
Again,
stuck.
I
yeah, once
personally
one
would, yeah, there is ton of deals out there, so we don't really even do anything like this.
Yeah.
But if you have, this is not a mainstream strategy that I recommend.
No. I want
Yeah,
to get my feet wet, and I don't
yeah,
care if it's mud. I don't care if it's a nice spot. I just want
yeah,
to get my feet wet, and do more. Like, you guys are at a point where you're scaling your business, so you're like, like, I really know what I'm looking for. I'm streamlining everything.
yeah.
I think a lot of people who want to get into this business and in real estate and the wraps, they go for maybe a deal you guys might be going for, and sometimes you gotta just do gotta just do some
Yeah.
tough deals.
So
Like,
there is another guy who reached out to us out of Austin. He's in
uh-huh.
sub two, and uh, I mean, since he reached out to us after the first episode to now, he already found a deal on Austin MLS. It's
Okay.
400,000. His purchase price is 400,000.
Okay.
Possible exit is 450 to 490 area, considering Austin. That's the median price there. So couple brokers we've been discussing this with, not in Austin area, but they were talking. I mean, if the median price in that market support it, then it's okay to take risk. It's just going to sit on the market a little longer to find that one
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
buyer that you're looking for.
exactly, yes. So there are buyers out there, just depending on the personal situation. You should be ready to hold it. And then, once we transfer the deed, it's our responsibility, because we take that away from the seller. So we have to make sure the payments are made on time, so that their credit is not hurting.
Yeah.
So to answer, I think we lost David, but I think he has a very good deal. He just have to do the market study, and he has a lot of wiggle room to play. The market rates are 7.5, and then he has his deal at 4.2%. So it will take time, but he should be able to find a buyer.
That's
We
great
like
news.
to move fast, right? We do volume, so we don't want to hold properties for more than a month. So we stick to under $300,000 and in our market.
That's smart, and you can do more volume.
Yes.
Excellent. David, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. It seems like it's okay, but if it's not, I'll let you know for sure. So, were you able to catch that from Chime Prakash?
Yes, and it is reaching out to brokers and to make it happen.
No, can't hear you. It's cutting in and out. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Are you on iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Yeah, no, on the phone,
Yeah.
last time I tried, it was very difficult.
Okay, I was gonna make an Android joke, but I can't. Yeah, phone is hard. The connection because we're streaming high quality streams, so it doesn't really work too much on phones. But do you have any questions for Chai or Prakash, or were you able to track what we were talking
You
about?
can type it up if you like.
Yeah, David had other questions that he texted me earlier. Where can you open title, right? In Texas, we use Scott Horn and Associates. They are based in Dallas. They will close the deal for you. They will also do the RMLO for you, where you qualify the buyer, and they will also go as a correspondent lender if you're doing more than 3 deals a year. So it's like a
Tell us a
complete.
little bit about that. Tell us about that last part, Prakash. What was the last part you said? Because that's
So
interesting.
if you're wrapping more than
I'm gonna
three,
put you on mute 1 second, okay?
okay. So if you wrap more than 3 deals, you have to have a lender's license.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's like really important for some of us to know. You need a lender's
Yes.
license.
So we use either Texas Pride Lending or we use Scott Horn.
Scott Horn.
Scott Horn has been on sub to multiple times.
Right.
So what happens is they go as a lender when we close the deal. So that
Are
we
you borrowing their license for the deal?
they use the word corresponding lender and they assign the deed back to us. They assign it to us. So we are not the lender on records when the deal is underwritten, but it is assigned back to us.
Okay, so they will kind of sponsor the deal and then reassign it to you.
Yes, they will qualify the buyer, they will do the RMLO, the complete package, and they will assign it back. But if it's a first, second, or third deal, it's fine.
Got it. So Edgar says, is this applying only to Texas or is this nationwide?
I believe it's nationwide, but you would want to check. I might be wrong. We have only done wraps in Texas.
Got it. Okay, great. Excellent. What's up, Chai? Chai's back here.
Yeah, I'm here. I just needed my extender.
We've got a question here. Says, do you worry about the interest you are selling at, or is payment more important? Payment will be higher than rent if we use 9% interest rate.
Do you worry about
Payment.
interest rate you're selling at, or it is a payment more important? It's a combination, right? It's a combination. You cannot increase the selling price too much because you cannot price the buyer out. He should be able to refinance it in the future. If you take the interest rate very low and the sale price very high, the house is never going to appraise for the buyer to refinance you out in the future.
So when would you, if you, so basically if the interest rate's too high or the sale price is too high, the buyer is not really set up to be able to refi?
No, but they are talking about 9% interest rate. We
So
charge even higher than 9% interest rate, and the answer is the reason we are not worried about 11% interest rate that we charge is because we stay under 300,000. Also, one thing to note here is your payment includes the principal pay down. So the buyers in our sweet spot of 250 plus or minus 10,000, the payments comes out to be around 2600 per month. Everything, PITI, okay, principal, interest, tax, insurance, all of it. The interest, tax, and insurance is fixed cost, But principal is your own money that you're paying yourself, making the house in your name for every payment you do. So even if it's 25, 2600, really their out of pocket cost is closer to maybe 22, 2000 to 2200. So it's very close to rents in that regard. And I mean, I don't know if all the buyers are actually thinking like what I just explained,
No, they're not thinking like that.
but you could explain it to them if payments seemed high to someone. And 9% interest rate is going to kill you in this market. Like Prakash, I mean, we've developed these bank relationships in our market regularly. I couldn't go to this meeting today, but Prakash met with a new banker, and what I think 8.5% floor
Eight and a
rate.
half percent where the bank is at.
So
So
when you say
9%, if
9%
you,
is going to kill you in this market, what does that mean?
so if you're extending a fixed interest rate of 9% to your
Okay.
buyer, okay, if you have a sub 2 with 2, 3, 4, 5% interest rate, you're fine. But what if you don't have a sub 2? You're one of the few ones who are actually doing just plain owner finance like us. Or what if your sub 2 note gets called tomorrow
You have to
and now
sell the
you
note.
need to park that note with a bank? You have no recourse left but to
because,
actually
because
lose money and sell note in the market.
can you teach us a little bit when you're selling a note? Let's say this. Say Prakash, you've got a $300,000 note at 9%, and Chai, you've got a 300,000 note at 10%, and I've got a $300,000 note at 11%. How does that work? I mean, I think my note might be worth more. I'm sure there are other variables like how much the buyer put
Yeah.
down and things like that. I'm sure, but let's say all things being the same, how do you price these notes?
So when you go out and shop, one thing that a note buyer is looking for is yield on the note. Okay. Even and everybody is gonna whenever someone buys something, they're gonna play like of course they're gonna play it safe. Just like we buy sub two with low interest rate, low principal, and then sell it high. And so everybody wants to make the spread. Just the same way your note buyers are also looking for a spread. So this one note we sold was in fact like I think 12%, was it Janda note we sold, or 11%?
That was at 11.
11. So 11% note we sold it at 93% value of the actual note. So it was a
Oh,
$165,000 note,
uh-huh.
and we sold it for 153,450.
Okay,
So
got it.
93% of its value. So now the actual yield on that note is more like 12.5% or
So they're
12%.
basically like they're like, "Hey, I'm happy to put all this money into the deal if I'm getting 12.5% interest." Something like
Sort
that.
of.
Looking
Yeah.
at.
Maybe person we sold to could be a middleman, and maybe he sold it to someone for 95% or 97%, for all I know. But
Got it, because he's
yeah,
looking at somebody who wants to make a lower yield, somebody who's
yes,
happy with maybe 10% yield.
Yeah,
And
there's a different world of wholesaling notes, like
yeah.
just like houses.
and where do you find these buyers?
So one resource I shared on the first Zoom, there is a website which is probably the most popular place to go to. It's called PaperStack.
I went there and I looked at the notes, and it was all kinds of different notes. There's like 150 notes for sale at any given time, and
Oh
it's
wow.
cool. I'm not even sure how to read the market because, like, on the MLS, I can see like what's sold, and I can kind of predict. Okay, this is trading, but it's kind of difficult to see. Okay, I'm not sure. Some of these notes are just sitting out here, and
Yeah.
they're at yields at like 12, 13, 14%. Some of the higher yields I've noticed are on tax liens. So I'm like,
Oh yeah.
maybe those are high yields, but they're risky on some way. That's why
Oh
they're
yeah.
not selling. But I'm sure, let's say you had a note and it's at 11% or 12%, and you wanted to sell it, it probably would sell pretty fast if you discount it,
Yeah.
let's say 10%.
So to answer the very first question on 9%, think about, like, we had 11% note that we sold for 93% of its value
Mm-hmm.
to bring the yield up to like 12 and a half, whatever it
Got it.
comes up. For a 9% note to come to 12 and a half, you're gonna sell it at, I mean, closer to 80% or 83%.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
loss on your. So that's only if your note gets called, your sub two, like, loan or mortgage gets called. So in today's market, so 9% 2 years ago was fantastic. I mean, again, I would still agree that I would still argue that 9% was still low. Maybe 10% was reasonable. We have done deals at 10%. But again, there are reasons why you would do 9% on certain deals. If the value of the house is really high, you have a big spread
You have a
from,
spread, you can do
yeah,
that because you're making money on
where
your
you can
equity.
afford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and guys, this is our, for the viewers here, this is our personal strategy to balance our risk.
Yeah.
Some of the folks might have been doing sub two for 10 years. They know their note is the note might not be called, right? So they can adjust their strategy based on their risk profile.
Yeah.
They can. I have seen folks wrapping at 7%, which is perfectly fine. You should just know what you're getting into and if there's an exit strategy. And sometimes notes don't get called, right? We are planning for worst case, and we would want an exit.
Yeah.
You're
Again,
not an
exit.
exit.
you can do 9%, and what he's asking here is, I just don't want to price out the buyer, which is very, like, good thought. But you also want to make sure, I mean, you need to look at the full picture. Remember, I mean, we spoke about this in the first or second episode. Like, one variable is not important. How it, like, ties up the whole deal with other variables of the deal is important. Total. So if I had, I mean, a sub two deal at a kick-ass low interest, maybe I would actually consider at 9%, or maybe I have a deal at higher price point and my spread is really high compared to my underlying note to the sales price. So where I can eat that much loss if things really go south. So there is all kinds of reasons why 9% would make sense. And the market rent versus the wrap buyer's payment are two different things. So today in Houston, market rent is averaging maybe 1700 in that range of properties, whereas the note buyers are paying around 2600. So market rent is, I wouldn't say, is the uh, I mean, you shouldn't compare the loan payment with the market rent every time. Get a feel for your market through the brokers, the local brokers.
And then
And
you
I'm
have
pretty sure. Yeah.
and then you have a very valid question. Am I pricing my buyer out?
Correct.
And but that's the unfortunate situation right now in this market. Our single family homes prices have gone up by 30-40% in last 3 years, and the interest rates are up. So that it is unfortunate, but that's the condition. We are seeing that in Houston too. Back in the days, buying was cheaper, renting was expensive, but it has flipped now. Buying is definitely more cheaper, and buying is expensive and renting is much cheaper. But the rents are also going up. And this is a 30-year loan, so yes, they might be at 3,000 now, but they will be at 3,000 for 30 years. But their rent in 30 years is going to be a lot more.
Interesting. So
And what market are you in? If you can type.
Lang Lois J. I have a 269 subject to with an ARV of 375. Market rent is about 2K to 2200.
Guys,
Phoenix.
Oh,
Okay.
Phoenix. Oh, wow. This is in Phoenix? Is this deal in Phoenix? That's amazing. Wraps do well in Phoenix from what Pace says.
Yeah, I mean, if your market, if 375 is your closer to your market median, then you should be fine with even higher interest rate than that. Or 20K down, I would think
I
twice,
wouldn't do it.
honestly, because that is very low. At least, like, we don't qualify buyers for anything less than 10%.
No, no, no.
Because
He's saying to the seller on his side. So
oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, no, that's good.
So guys, we have two good questions. I know we are discussing this, but let's also ask Brandon once we are done with this subject. Brandon has two good questions on the list.
he says Scott Horn or who I heard Texas Prime Lending.
So Scott Horn and Associate is a law firm who will do both RMLO and the title work, and Texas Pride Lending is an RMLO. That's one more option.
And then Brandon says, so you only need an RMLO after your third wrap?
No, we RMLO for every single wrap, because what RMLO is doing is qualifying your buyer. They look at their pay stubs, they look at where they work, and you have to be on the right side of the law. And you cannot or not recommended to sell a house to someone who cannot pay for it. So
Yeah.
RMLO for every single deal, it costs anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500, depending on which company do you use. Or I think some are even at $2,000. But they will qualify the buyer for you, and they will make sure everything is legally correct.
Well, they don't qualify the buyer for you. They will do everything that needs to be done or requested from the buyer. And you can, so if you call them and ask them, hey, do you qualify buyer? They're going to say no, because it's
Yes,
your
yes.
responsibility to qualify. And I mean, you can get guideline. I mean, you can ask them questions on what they think of a buyer, because they've dealt with them over the phone. Uh, they have talked to the buyer, so you can kind of feel the, I mean, get a feeling for the buyer if it's a good or bad buyer. If you have too, I mean, if it's too difficult to get hold of a buyer, if it's too difficult to get documents from a buyer, there is just all kinds of red flags that you can get a feel for from these companies. And then, of course, the uh, the numbers speak for itself. And one more thing I want to mention is, the question was about RMLO after third wrap. So there is no, I mean, connection of RMLO and third wrap. That third wrap thing is, the rule says that you cannot do more than 3 wraps, period, in a 12-month period. That's the rule. Whether how you do the wrap is immaterial. With RMLO, without RMLO, doesn't matter. The rule is you cannot do more than 3 wraps in a 12-month period. That's it. So after three wraps, you should go to a correspondent lender who will do the wrap as a lender for you, and then sell you the note. In that, it all
You can
happens
buy
in one
notes.
process.
You can buy notes all day.
After third wrap, if the closing disclosures show your name as a lender, that's not allowed. That will invalidate the deal if the buyer is smart and wants to really get back at you. Okay, so after third wrap of the year, I would just start from, I mean, wrap one, honestly, because buyer is going to pay for all the closing cost. So it's just best to not have your name as a lender on a wrap. Always go to a correspondent lender. And RMLO is still its independent thing, but you should always do starting wrap one, because RMLO will protect you from best practices in lending, from Dodd-Frank Act, all these things. So RMLO and that rule has no connection. You should do RMLO
And
uh,
and
regardless.
without RMLO, a bank might not buy your note.
Yeah. Or note buyer might not buy your note.
Buy your note because they do
Yeah.
not know the background of the buyer.
But the
Because there
RMLO
is,
helps you.
I mean, all these oldies like that have been doing wraps for ages have, like, probably have a ton of portfolio, and have zero fear in their mind. So they do all kinds of weird use all kinds of weird practices. Some old brokers who haven't kept up with the wrap laws, if you talk to them, they still get confused when we talk about RMLO. Hey, why are you doing RMLO? We are like, to cover our own ass. Like, it's simple as that. They still don't understand it. Why? So, but be very careful with these things. I mean, Texas wrap laws, they have put brakes on it like 3-4 months ago, and yeah, it can get ugly.
Missions to Millions has a question. It says, what if you wrap under different entities? Can you do 3 wraps per entity?
I think that's your. We don't do it. We follow the guidelines, but you should check this with your lawyer.
Yeah.
If he's protecting you, then go ahead, Chai.
So we recently spoke with one lawyer, and they said, if the law says something is not allowed and you find a way to make it legal, it's still not allowed. So the correspondent lender like workaround on these things is still questionable already. Having different entities, I don't know. I would go with correspondent lender because they are actually registered mortgage broker. Creating different entities, paying taxes on all these entities every year is just as painful, if not worse, than using correspondent lender. I think, if you have to pick, uh, like the
Pick a poison.
pick one, one or the other, I would go with the
and
correspondent
and,
lender.
and it doesn't, typically these fees are covered by the buyer, and it's a very small fee, no additional work, like zero work. They will do it for you.
Yeah.
Edgar says, good advice. And Brandon Council says, got it. Thank you so much. Now I see why you're building relationships with banks. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. The
When you
loan-
have a bank by your side, then your deal is not a wrap. It is not considered wrap. It's just pure owner finance. When you have a pure owner finance, none of these wrap laws apply to you.
when
You're
tell
just
us
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that. What do you mean when you have a bank on your side? Doesn't become a wrap, it becomes an owner finance. What does that mean?
So these banks that we are talking about, okay, there is two different things. Like, I just want to clarify for the audience here. If you go get a loan on a property in your name and then don't pay that loan off and go out and find a buyer and actually create a wrap around mortgage around your underlying lien, it becomes a wrap in that scenario. Versus you are holding a note free and clear, which is, for example, if you buy a property cash, fix it up, do whatever you need to do, find a buyer, and actually sell that property on owner financing, and there is no underlying mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you are actually the note holder.
Right.
In the previous situation, you have an underlying mortgage, so bank is the original note holder, and there is some portion that you seller finance that is on top of bank's note. You only hold that portion in the first scenario of wraps. In the second scenario, you are the first lien position because you hold the entire note.
Right.
In you hold the entire note, you're not wrapping any underlying note. So it's not called wrap. It is just pure owner finance.
That's just owner finance.
So when you have a pure free and clear note that you take to the bank to just get collateral against that note, bank already knows that you have a note. You do not have a property, which there is very limited banks who do that, and there is very limited people who will qualify for that. So when you do that, when you have these relationships with banks who will give you money against notes receivable, that's the time when you are completely outside of this wrap zone. the laws only apply to the wraps, not to general owner finance.
So all these third wrap a year, those it doesn't apply.
Yeah,
if
all
you're
that is out the window. Doesn't mean anything. However, there is still Dodd-Frank
Of course, which is why
that
you have an
apply
RMLO.
homestead loan processing. So you should still do RMLO. You don't need a correspondent lender because you don't fall under wraps. So yeah, that is probably the safest game to play. However, right now, I mean, this whole like interest rate hedging has become difficult. So some of our notes that are parked with the bank are at 7%. We are trying to park new notes with the bank. They're going to be in the 8% range. I mean, we are worried that like it's going to cross the 11% mark we have, then the banks will not be viable option for us. And then every bank is different. Some banks, I mean, some of our banks only want fresh notes. Like they don't want season notes. Whereas the note buyers in the marketplace always want season notes. They want to see that buyers have paid consistently for 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So, and some banks will give us 30-year amortization. Some banks will give us 15-year amortization. There is just all kinds of rules, and you cannot ask why because they are just set in stone. So anyway, that's for the next. I mean, another episode. But that's what you need to remember. Like, I mean, even in my very first slide of my first presentation, I was showing like cash to owner finance, sub to wrap, creative to wrap. So these three scenarios, that's where the rules change all the time.
Missions to Million says, and they want them serviced, right? So do you use a loan servicer for your reps?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, we have not asked that question to the bank and they haven't told us they need it serviced, but we just service them via third party regardless.
Yeah, it just keeps it easier.
Edgar says a land contract would help in the case of an underlying mortgage.
Yes, not in Texas though.
Not in Texas, but in other states. Like Ohio, I have a sub 2 and I'm selling it on a land contract.
So I think we spoke with Munif offline, and I'm going to put it in a very simple language as possible about land contract. Is one, there are different reasons why you would do land contracts besides protecting yourself from underlying mortgage. First and foremost, I mean, there are certain markets where the demographic is very challenging. The median home income is very low. Finding wrap buyers is, I wouldn't say hard. It's probably, it might seem easier, but they won't be as good quality buyers as you would like. So in certain scenarios like that, having land contract may help you in the scenario of foreclosure, because the deed has not transferred. So you can develop that history with a buyer for a while, and then decide whether you want to move the deed over in their name or just keep it that way, keep it going. So besides underlying mortgage, there is other reasons why you would do land contract as well.
Makes perfect sense. All right, guys, it's about that time of day. We've got to thank Chai and Prakash for taking time out. They took a whole hour out of their day to be here with us. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for giving us this free world-class education in wraps, owner finance, note investing, all this stuff, compliance. We got into a lot of it today. My brain hurts. This stuff makes it really stretches out and the folds in my brain. So that's really good. Whenever I have a conversation with you guys, I'm always left brain fried. They're so amazing. They're so incredible. Maybe next time, if we have enough demand, if we have enough people who are watching, if we have enough people who are shouting them out, because I actually look at all those posts. Believe it or not, I actually go to each and every post people tag me and my friends on, and I like them, I comment, I engage. And if we have enough, maybe we can bring them on and they can talk about the A to Z step-by-step wrap guide that they made. They made this incredible Excel spreadsheet that we teased last week, but we just didn't have enough people who really want to see it. It is pretty involved. It's a step-by-step guide. It's a complete package on how to start and finish a wrap and all these little things. It's all documented. It is pretty heavy, so I didn't want to really do a Zoom on that unless we had enough interest. And we'll gauge that interest by seeing how many people tag Chai Prakash, asking them for that spreadsheet. If we have enough, we will cover it. If we don't, no problem. We won't do the A to Z guide. Instead, we'll just underwrite more deals and do case studies because that might be a little bit easier to grasp. Time flew by for sure. For sure. Yes, Brandon. And Ju, yes, a step-by-step guide. It's basically a checklist on everything they go through when they look at a property that they want to buy, and then how they'll sell it on a wrap. They have all the steps outlined in a spreadsheet in the form of a checklist. It is very intensive because there's a lot of pieces, but we teased the idea of maybe having an entire Zoom dedicated to that checklist. But like I said, I don't want to lose anybody. Sometimes when we get deeper into the weeds of stuff, we lose a lot of the audience. So if there's not enough demand for it, I just prefer to do case studies of real wraps, like the one we might be doing here in Texas. There's one we haven't really talked about it. We're talking to brokers right now, but we might be able to do a case study on a wrap that I'm partnering with Chai Prakash on. All right, guys. Veronica says a step-by-step guide would be great. If you think so, then go ahead and shout out Chai Prakash, tag them, tag myself on Facebook, and just shout them out. Share one thing you've learned from today. Ju says, would love to go through that checklist. All right, cool. Awesome. All right, Chai. All right, Prakash, is there anything you want to tell the audience before we call it here today?
No, I think this was great. And that checklist, I think, we can't start 1 hour into it for sure. We will need at least full 1 hour, if not more, because we are going to go a lot of different tangents.
And that kind of a deep dive, it's kind of like with YouTube, sometimes on YouTube, you don't see much deep dives because YouTube, what people want to see is just almost like superficial stuff. And when you get into the weeds and the technical details of things, you lose a lot of viewers. So we want to appeal to the most amount of people we can and spread as much as value as we can to the most amount of people. So if we're sensing that we're just going to lose a lot of people by going into the nitty-gritty, thick spreadsheet, I prefer not to do that. I prefer to just do case studies of actual deals. Talk about that, something more people can grasp. But prove me wrong. If there is enough people who want to see the spreadsheet, shout us out, tag Chai Prakash, tag myself on Facebook. And if we see enough tags, definitely 100% do that Zoom. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Later.
Guys, thank you.